Hi everyone, and this week's devotion comes from A Fear Not for Every Day by Chris Boelter, Boelter, and Virginia Work. And it occurred to me that I haven't read this to you guys yet this year. I've been reading it for probably 6 months now, and it has really, really blessed me. It's really helped me every day. And she talks a lot about, her husband and just the ministry they had and the health, the thing that gave him serious health problems and stuff. But she gives examples, simply to just to show us the lessons that God taught her, if that makes sense. So I hope that's what we're hearing today as we read this. So here's a devotional for Sunday, February 3rd, 2019. Reason number 34, not to fear. Unstinting obedience gives you peace of mind. Therefore you shall keep the commandments of the Lord your God, to walk in his ways and to fear him. Deuteronomy 8:6. The little boy had tried his mother's patience sorely that day. When he was asked to pick up his toys, he refused. When he was told to wash his hands for lunch, he replied that he didn't need to. When his mother reminded him to feed the dog, he kicked the dog's dish across the floor and stomped outside. At her wit's end, she finally made him go and sit in the corner on his little chair until he could obey. As he sat there, his face still puckered into a stubborn frown, he said, "I may be sitting down on the outside, but I'm standing up on the inside." The children of Israel were like that little boy. They tried God's patience to the utmost limits during 40 years they had wandered in the wilderness. Yet God graciously provided for their needs, protected them from harm, and forgave them when they repented. Again and again, God reminded them through Moses that if they wanted a full, abundant life, they should walk in his ways and be obedient to his commands. Yet they were a stubborn, stiff-necked people. While they conformed to God's will outwardly, they rebelled against him in their hearts. Moses had come to the end of his life and gave his farewell address to the people. He wanted them to remember God's word and God's laws, and above all, to remember to be obedient. God was not trying to make the Israelites miserable when he asked them to fear and obey him. Every child of God should realize that God takes obedience seriously, and if he takes it seriously, so should you. There are no blessings without plain old-fashioned obedience. If I would be honest with you, my flesh does not naturally obey the Lord. It doesn't like to be denied. However, I know that I must say yes to Jesus and no to disobedience. I have learned the hard way that when I allow my will to prevail over God's, I end up in a disastrous, uncomfortable situation. How about displaying some radical, outrageous obedience today? What is God asking you to do or not to do? Determine in your heart that you will give him your heart, your will, and your obedience. Now you can rest in his blessing and not be tormented by fear. Well, I'm trying to think, really, what's God telling me to do and not to do? I think I think my biggest problem is worrying about things and just, and it's like God doesn't want me to worry because he knows that he's going to take care of everything. He's going to work everything out for good. So that I need to really work on that and to be, obedient to him. So let's all be challenged today to think about what it is the Lord wants us to do and wants us not to do, and to be obedient to him. And may the Lord bless you all and be with you till tomorrow.